What is happening, everyone? You are back on the Listen Man podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Speeney, and I'm so grateful, as always, to be with you guys. This one's a special one for me, not going to lie. I've had other episodes where I may have used the word special, but this one takes the cake. This is something that has shaped my life, both as a man, as a human being, as a grandson, and obviously as a nurse. I normally talk about things that may relate to other people in a mental health way. And this definitely will have its moments, but this one is more personal. It's a little of me telling my story and how cancer and the people that have been involved in my cancer journey have helped shape my life, my mindset, and just how much cancer has helped in my overall growth as a human being and as a spiritual being, as someone that has taken the messages and some of the tough days, some of the beautiful days, and how cancer has helped me learn so much about life. One of the things that people will say to me when I tell them that I work in oncology is that must be hard. That's probably what I get 95% of the time. And they really focus on some of the sadness, the hardship. I don't want to say negativity, but more on the heavy concepts, more on the themes that most people like to shy away from or don't focus on normally because they are heavy. And that is very true. Those are heavy topics. They're things that are not easy to talk about and things that most of us don't honestly like to talk about. And for good reason. They're extremely energy sucking at times, especially when it is talking about sadness, loss, particularly when it's a family member, someone you've known very well for a long time, the suddenness, or the long, grueling journey that cancer can have on someone, depending on what their diagnosis is, their story, their fight. And it's not, it's not easy. It's not something that I've taken lightly. And anyone who has had a family member or a friend or works in oncology would disagree with. It's something that really touches our inner being. And I would probably take an estimate and say that at least 95% of people that work in oncology have known someone, and not just a friend of a friend of a friend, but know someone personally very close that has passed away, that has had a very tough journey, or has been heavily involved in cancer. And I'm no different. If you know a little bit about my story, you know that my grandfather got diagnosed with multiple myeloma when I was 8 years old. He was my best friend, and I could not could not overstate best. He did everything with me. I wanted to do everything with him. He was my role model and still is. He's someone that I would love to have spent more years with. I would have loved to have seen me get married one day, have grandchildren. Well, I guess they would be his great grandchildren, but that would have loved to have gone on more fishing trips and gone to more baseball games and would have seen me travel and be a nurse in so many different cool areas and have gotten to know the things that I've gotten to know and experience the things in life that I've gotten to experience. He's one of those people that, and we all have them in our life, where no matter where we're at physically, you know that they're there spiritually, that they're there emotionally. I know he's always with me. And again, could not overstate that anymore. The people that we love, whether they're here, present on earth, or if they've passed on, they're always with us. A little piece of them is always with us. And again, could not overstate how much those people mean and how they're always, I know, advocating on our behalf, whether to God, depending on what your belief is, whether that's just being on your side and giving you love from anywhere. I fully, wholeheartedly believe that. And I know he has been there with me on my journey every step of the way, particularly after he passed. He had a great battle. And I use the word battle because it really was a fight. And again, anyone that knows or has been firsthand basis taking care of patients, being there as a family member, or if you are or have been a patient yourself, you know the battle. You know how tough it is. It's something that no one, and I mean no one, would wish on anyone that they love, but definitely not their worst enemy either. My grandfather had multiple myeloma, which is cancer of the bone marrow. I was a kid. I loved being with him. I loved playing baseball in the backyard with him. And that man, with all of his pain, would get down on a knee and catch me in the backyard as I was playing baseball, as I was working on getting pitches in the strike zone and working on my ground balls and catching and hitting. And once he could no longer do that, he built out of a door on one of the chicken coops that he had in his yard. He cut the door off that was wooden and painted a strike zone, and even had a bucket that was like the size of a pasta pot. And he would bolt it on a door, and that would be my backstop. That would be what I would work on throwing strikes and aiming at. And that is just one of the stories that I can tell you, and one of the many ways that he showed love. And his journey came to an end here on Earth in 2009. I never say lost the battle, and I never say quit in cancer, because cancer takes from our bodies. Death is something that we all experience at one point or another, and cancer never wins. Okay. And I remember telling him that right before he had passed. He wasn't able to speak anymore, but I could tell him, you win. God wins. Life wins. Cancer will never win. And the reason I do have an issue when people say that someone quit or could no longer fight is because it is not a battle that someone chooses. And this isn't to get into any of the morality around cancer and how certain behaviors cause cancer. This isn't that episode, and I'm not that person to have that discussion with. But when you decide, and in his case, when you choose to have a stem cell transplant, and when you choose to push on, and when you choose to live, and when I say live, I mean be active, to take life, to give it all that you've got, that is never a battle that one can lose. That is never a battle that one quits. That lives on. Life is truly a measure of what we give, not what we get. And cancer in particular is a battle, and it is something that no one that was in it, no one that was a family member, friend, they never lose. And once my grandfather's battle on earth had finished, it was right around time where I decided what I was going to do as far as my career, going to school. And what I decided was to be a nurse. And initially, I can't say that it was 100% invested in the fact that my grandfather had cancer. It was around having flexibility, having the opportunity to change lives, yes, but didn't quite know what my journey would look like. Having gone through school, one of my only goals that I had had coming out was that I wanted to be a travel nurse at some point, which I have done. Again, not that episode to get into, but my other goal that I had was I want to impact lives. I want to make a difference. And I thought initially that would be in psych. And now that some of my life has unfolded and I'm looking back 11 years after graduating nursing school, that part has come out again because my mental health drive and my love to be able to help people in that realm has grown. But when I'd gone through all of my clinicals, what had come up time after time was I was getting put in oncology floors and I was working with cancer patients. And it had spoken to me that that was the reason that I initially had gone into nursing in the first place, was because I had spent so many hours in the hospital with my grandfather that it didn't feel unnatural. It felt like somewhere that I was myself and that I could flourish and that I can make a difference. And being an oncology nurse now for 11 years, the thing that I fall back on the most is what my grandfather said to me when he was going through his journey, which was, I just wish that I had nurses that listened. I wish I had people that cared. The one thing that he felt he did not receive the most was time from others, particularly in the care that he got. And I've heard that in some of my patients at different points where just sitting with them and being present, listening, taking time to get to know them behind their medical record number and to appreciate them for the life that they've lived prior to their diagnosis and during their diagnosis and beyond. And the thing that I will forever bring to the table, no matter how long I'm a nurse and how long I work in oncology, is I will always do my best to listen and do my best to be present because that's what's been imprinted on my heart through my grandfather. Now, back to the original statement when someone asks what I've done and why I've been a nurse and why I work in oncology, and their response, again, that must be really hard. I don't think I could ever do that. No, we all could not do that. And thank God, honestly, because we all have different skills. I would be a terrible mechanic. I would not be a great engineer. I would probably not be good in any political realm, in any realm where I had to work completely alone, secluded. But with people, I feel at home. And with cancer patients, I feel at home. And I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know sometimes we all look at others and think that we could never do that. And we almost chastise ourselves because we couldn't see ourselves being what they are. But we miss the mark because we all have different things, skills, passions that help make the world stay moving forward, that help life and help people, whether directly or indirectly. that we have as our goal, but rather as the skills that we own and possess and are able to give back. Like I said, life is not about what you get and what you achieve because you take nothing with you. Life is about what you give. And cancer has taught me nothing more than that it is about giving. I've met so many great patients through my career. I've always said, and I will continue to say, that I cannot give them what they've given me. There is no comparison. Similar to how a parent gives you so much and you can never repay them fully. What I've learned spiritually about how to show up as a person and what life is all about, I can never repay. I can only honor them by giving my best effort the way that I know how, by being present, by listening, by working at my skills and trying to be better every single day, every shift. And the reason why I always rebut the statement, that must be really hard, is because it's not sadness that I think of when I think of my job. It's not loss. It's not a fight that wasn't won. It isn't failure. It isn't quit. It is life. And life in and of itself is what you give. And what cancer has given me is an appreciation for life. I don't think about life in terms of things could end quickly, things that we have, we must hoard and hold on to because they could be gone the next moment. No. What I think about is the moment that we have is all that we have. Now is the only time that exists. And that is the same whether we are a nurse, whether we are the patient, whether we work in finance, whether we are not religious, no matter what role we are in life, and no matter what position we are in life, no matter if we're aware or not aware, the only moment we have is now. And cancer has shown me that now is the best time to make amends. It's the best time to tell others you love them. It's the best to give your best effort. It's the best to forgive. It's the best to give. And there is no place in there that talks about taking. Receiving, yes. There are things that we get in life that we don't ask for, that are free, that we should appreciate. But we don't take those things because we don't get to take those things. We receive those things, we hold them with open arms and with open palms because life is ours. Life is given to us freely. Again, not to get religious, but what God gave us in terms of life is free. It is given out of his grace. And what we take of that is on us. What we see, what we do with it, the gifts that we're given. Do we hoard them, thinking that what we have to show at the end of the day is what we possess? Or do we build on that? Do we give? Do we share our talents? And I hope you share your talents. I hope you give. I hope you choose, as my patients have taught me, to give all you've got, to love hard, to forgive, to give. And I hope at the end of the day that you choose to fight, that you choose to share all that you have. You choose to not just look at the bright side and not call your story sad or call what others go through as hard or depressing, because all those things in this realm do exist. But I hope you take the time to appreciate what you've received freely. And I hope that you take the time to appreciate the gifts that you've been given in people, in your house, in your car, in what you've worked for in your profession, but more so in the things that are free: love, peace, grace, and the experience of presence, especially around those that you love. Guys, I hope if you've listened to this, you tell people in your life, whether they have cancer or not, whether you have been in a great relationship with them, or maybe it's going through a rough patch as a friend, take the time to tell those that you love them. Remember to give because we don't take anything with us. Forgive, give, love. Guys, remember what you say always matters, how you say it, and always remember to take time to listen to those who you know could use the ear. Check in on those who you know could be checked in on. And always remember to listen, man. Guys, hope you have a great day. Talk soon.